A new survey could hasten the pace of growth at the Port of Quincy's Intermodal facility, where boxcars filled with produce and other goods are transferred from truck to train and vice versa. Pat Boss with the Port of Quincy says the city's reputation as a regional shipping hub has been steadily building since 2010, when Cold Train gave Central Washington growers an alternative to trucks for sending refrigerated product eastbound.
The produce industry in this area was really looking for another option, was really looking for another way to move their apples, their potatoes, their onions. And about 2 years ago, Burlington Northern put Quincy on their map as an official intermodal hub, which was huge.
The designation helped bring more shippers to Quincy's doorstep. Boss says while the facility used to see 20 to 40 containers a month, these days they're shipping anywhere from 50 to 100 a week.
So with the rail and the electricity rates here in this area, plus the produce and all the vegetables and fruits that are grown here, it's a pretty lethal combination.
That sentiment is shared by John Boyd, CEO of the Boyd Company, which is one of the nation's leading corporate site selection firms. The company recently surveyed 29 Western U.S. and Canadian locations with intermodal connections to regional markets, examining all the critical site selection cost factors.
Labor, taxes, utility costs, and it's all backed up by empirical field research. We've actually spent time in Quincy and any other markets.
And out of all of the locations they looked at, Quincy was found to offer the lowest operating costs for distribution centers.
And a lot of decision makers from around the country, from around North America in fact, are very interested in Quincy today for a number of factors. Obviously the compelling operating cost advantages here, but also the BNSF putting Quincy on the map, if you will, with this intermodal site. Intermodal is the critical issue today for siting new distribution warehousing projects.
In fact, the company doesn't recommend clients make any moves to areas without intermodal rail facilities. Number one reason, diesel prices, which are projected to hit $7 a gallon over the next 5 years.
Plus, companies can reduce their CO2 emissions by over 50% by using rail.
1 gallon of gas translates to 400 miles of rail transport, good for the bottom line and for green branding of products. Boss says it's also good to have choices.
But frankly, choice is good, and so for apple shippers, potato shippers, onion shippers to have choice, where they can use trucks sometimes, they can use rail sometimes, people like that.
Boyd says another green advantage Quincy has over other markets is the low-cost hydroelectric power, hard to beat at 3 cents a kilowatt.
Those are some of the most attractive energy prices that you'll find anywhere in North America. It's why Quincy's had the most successful data center attraction program in North America. And we see that translating now into attracting more industrial projects, both manufacturing and distribution.
Boyd's fielding interest in Quincy from distribution companies all over the U.S., dealing in everything from pharmaceutical products to food processing.
Quincy's working with trends, and that's why you see this really unprecedented interest today in Quincy from companies throughout the western U.S. and even throughout the Midwest.
Boss says a lot of Midwest food companies are looking to hedge their bets by building second facilities in central Washington.
One of the things that triggered some of this was the drought last year in the Midwest. There was a number of companies back there that had to come out here and buy a whole bunch of produce because they didn't have anything to run through their plants.
Boss says it's increasingly clear the Quincy Valley is poised for a boom in new production facilities and distribution centers.
Inexpensive warehousing, inexpensive electricity, and very competitive transportation. So you get all those ingredients working together, and it just makes it a very attractive place to ship produce and frozen foods.
Having the Boyd study in hand, he says, will only serve to seal the deal with potential customers.
Yeah, you can walk into a meeting and you can say, wow, we're better and we were great. But until you have a study that kind of verifies and backs up the numbers, most of these site selectors are going to look at the hard numbers. What's the cost?
And as the study points out, the low cost of doing business in Quincy could mean the city is going to see a whole lot more cargo rolling down the rails. For iFiber One News, this is Ryan Lancaster reporting.